Then there is the crisis of baby formula. Wow. Let's talk about that, because if ever there was a demonstration of the failure of a capitalist system to meet a basic need, here it is. There's a shortage. In some states, up to 40% shortage of the basic formula to feed babies, either as substitutes or supplements of breast milk. And crucial, of course, again, for babies' health. Here are some of the reasons, and notice what they all have in common. A capitalist firm, Abbott, is a major producer of the infant formula in this country. They were found to have allowed dangerous bacteria into their formula months ago. Babies died from it, and so they've had to recall a lot of their product. They didn't take the care they could have, they should have, would have cost them some money, that would have eaten into profits, and they didn't do it. Here's the second reason. COVID, it turns out, led to shortages of workers to make the stuff on the one hand, and occasional hoarding by people fearful of not having enough formula for their babies who bought extra. Okay, this is not rocket science. This always happens, particularly in times of major social upheaval, like a pandemic and a crash of the sort. And an honest, decent industry knows how to deal with it. You provide backup, that is called inventory. You produce extra, you store it so that you can provide a regular flow no matter what happens. The same issue as with supply chain disruptions. They always have happened. Everyone knows. Either you spend money to take care of that problem or you don't. And if you don't, it's on you, the capitalist, who chose not to do it. Then there's the trade policy of the United States, pushed by the same companies that make formula. Tariffs apply. You can't get European formula, which, by the way, exceeds FDA requirements, but can't come into the United States because the tariff hitting it makes the price of this higher than the domestic, which is what the domestic wanted, because that could allow them to jack up the price. So we're taking care of corporate profits. We're just not taking care of our babies. And then there's the last one. I love this excuse given by the companies. Our birth rate is shrinking. That's part of the crisis of U.S. capitalism. And so it's a little dicey for these companies. How big will the market grow? You see, they're not in the business of feeding babies, which you and I might think. They're in the business of making profit. And if the number of babies coming into the world in this part of the country, in this part of the world, isn't going up, they don't see much profit, and they're not going to spend extra to have stockpiles to deal with a pandemic and all the effects. And so we got a shortage. Thank you to a system that works in this bizarre way.